Hello and welcome to this How To Trophies full walkthrough guide for the game Black the Fall. This is a really interesting game in where you play it in a completely dystopian world where it's very dark and dingy and you have to solve several puzzles as we go through each level. So here we're just going to start, we're going to break out of this cage and walk forwards. There will be a bike in front of us. This is where your first trophy will be, called Working Class Hero. As you can see, I've sped the footage up here because this actually takes you about 15 minutes to do. So the trophy is for riding this bicycle for 15 minutes. There are a couple of sections later on in the game where you can also ride a bicycle, but I thought it was best just to get it out of the way first. This is a little bit laborious, but it is what it is, I guess. You've got to watch the counter at the top of the screen, as that will count up as you're cycling with the amount of miles that you've done. While we're sat doing this, I might as well ask if you could please subscribe to the channel here at How To Trophies. You could also leave us a like and a share, or a comment in the comment section below. Everything's much appreciated and I do read everything that you put. So a bit more of an overview of the game. There are 15 trophies to collect in the game. Most of them are pretty straightforward. You either have to just divert slightly from the main path, or in this occasion have to do something that involves an object within the game, in this case cycling. There are another couple of ones where you have to wait for boxes or jump on a train later in the particular video, which we'll get to. Then this bit is, as I mentioned, a little bit frustrating, but it does at least get this trophy out of the way, and then we can just continue to play through the game. You should be able to do this in one playthrough. There is a chapter selector though, so if you do miss anything, you will be able to go back and use that chapter select in order to unlock the trophy that you may have missed. So the trophy Working Class Hero should be popping in a couple of seconds. This is a gold trophy and is one of the rarer trophies in the game, so it's good to get it out of the way to start with. Now that trophy has unlocked, we can continue to do the rest of the game. The door on the right does need to be open, however, so you may need to cycle a little bit beyond that trophy unlocking for that door to open up so you can go through it, like I said, on the right. Now just proceed to your right and you'll walk into the first puzzle. This will be a red light puzzle, so you will have to wait for the carts above to cover the red light, so as they go you'll see it covering the light and then you can simply walk past it. You need to be careful not to be caught by any lights in this game, otherwise you will be shot and killed. So we'll just drop down here into the next section and continue to walk forwards. There will be a series of interactions coming up. This gate, you just need to push it open and then continue to the next little bit of area. You could occasionally run. A trophy should unlock here for going outside. It's called OUTLAW. This should be a second trophy, so a couple of quick trophies already. The trophy descriptions don't really tell you what you need to do, so that's why I'd advise following a guide. So we've just gone up to the left there and turned this little valve. We could then head back down and all the way to the right. The screen will shake a little bit from whatever we've done with that valve. And we'll enter the next area. There are some people in this area which look like they're getting checked in. Once you've opened the little hatch, you'll see the guy you have to avoid at the far right of the screen there. So his red light is something you really need to avoid. The object is a little seesaw, so at this point we need to crawl over the seesaw, avoiding his red light, and then pass through to the next area. We're in almost a window cleaning elevator, so we need to maneuver the arrow, as you can see on this elevator, to show down. So the elevator will go down, move to this other switch and crank the elevator to go down to a certain level. We will then need to put the elevator to the right in order to smash through the wall on the right to progress to the next area. Sorry about that. So once you've turned the arrow to the right, just going back to the crank and cranking it to the right should allow you to break through the wall. Again, watch for the red laser that's hovering above the area there. You'll have to wait until it moves away and then kind of sneak down into this little gap here. jump up and onto the platform, and again you can see there is a section where you do need to ride a bike again, but you won't be riding the bike for very long. So simply wait for the laser to come across. I don't know why I dropped down there, just obviously moved a little bit too much, and then yeah, that was a little bit too close. Like I said, if you do get caught by the laser you will be like shot immediately, so it's something that you really don't want to do. So the bike kind of hides you from the laser, so just jump off once you've finished, and then you will be able to move to the next section. In this section we'll have to sneak past this guard here, so he is obviously sleeping, so try not to make as much noise and sneak, and then we will actually drop down into this area, which will give us one of the trophies, one of the next trophies, which is to access a particular area. So if you keep going down to your right here, just drop down, and you'll find this scientist kind of hidden in this bunker, and then you'll get the next trophy, which is obscure dissident. So we'll go back to the left because that's that secret area completed. For some reason I forget how to jump at this point, so we'll try and find the way back up to the previous area. Just bear with me a little minute. Here we are, got there in the end, and jump back across and return to the original area that you were in. Right, as we make our way back to the top of the area here, jumping up again, and now we need to jump over this gap that's in front of us and onto the pipe to the right. So keep following the pipe, we'll crawl under this next section to go into the next little bit of area that we need to puzzle our way through. So the puzzles will get slightly more complicated as we go through. This one, obviously watch out for the machine gun. Ideally I wouldn't have had it shoot at me at that point, but I accidentally wandered into it while it was close to me. So you can run and protect yourself behind these little crates or this kind of debris that's sat here, that's meaning the gun can't hit you. So watch the machine gun to burn out. This is what you want it to do. You want it to burn out, and now it's exploded. And once you've done that, you want to run directly to the right for it to smash through this wooden panel that's at the top. So give it a couple of attempts. You might need 3. Just run backwards and forwards to smash this gun into this panel. That should unlock the next little bit of area within the game. Oh, it actually takes 4 goes. So yeah, there we are. The wooden panel is now destroyed, so you can jump up and you can go on to the next section of the game and the next little bit of puzzling. There's an awful lot of walking in this game, so you've got to get used to walking through these little areas. So in this next area you can see that we have 2 guards, one with a head torch and one who looks like almost his slave underneath. The poster on the wall will tell you exactly what we need to do. So you can see for the PlayStation version, which I'm using, you need to use circle and the analog stick in order to point the laser. So first we actually need to get the laser. So just jump on the platform there above the guard in order to crush him, and we'll actually steal his laser from his arm. Once this is equipped, you'll have ability to use a laser pointer in order to activate various elements of the puzzle going forwards. So here we're just using the laser pointer to click on the particular person, just getting it here, and then I'm ordering him to go over to that box there. So this allows you to control the people that are within the level, and he's going to open the next bit of section for us, and then we're going to have to get him to come over again to the right here in order to activate this box, which should let us into the next area. It is quite fiddly control wise, so you may have to take some time to get used to it. As you can see here, I'm not the best at these controls apparently, so just going over and selecting him again, and then asking him to go over to that far side in order to open the door for us. So I must have got slightly distracted at this point as we're waiting here a little bit too long, but I'll go back to the right hand side of the screen and order him to come towards this area, which we're doing now. So thankfully we got there in the end. I think I say that quite a lot in this game. Sometimes the controls are, as I mentioned, a little bit clunky and not the best necessarily. So we'll go through this next roller shutter door and into the next little bit of puzzle where we have again a security camera hovering above. You can see I actually died in this section, so I had to make a little cut there. You will die from time to time. It's kind of inevitable that the puzzles will go wrong, or you won't fully manage to get the point of the puzzle. So here I've got the camera to magnetise onto the actual slave worker. It's then taken the camera and moved it, and I've ordered the slave to go turn the crank. The crank should allow us to have vision of this thing. I don't really know what it is. This thing that comes out of the floor, this kind of tube type thing, and that should allow us to pass by the laser with no problems. So let the slave finish the cranking of the tube thing, as I'm going to call it, and then we just simply slip inside it. Make sure the laser or security camera isn't covering the door that you're going to enter or exit from, otherwise that will obviously catch you out and cause you to be killed. And again, just ask the slave to come over to the right here in order to open the box and do this next roller shutter door thing. And then we'll go to the next area. So here there's a lift, so you have to use the laser to activate the lift. So point the laser up to go up, or down to go down. You'll see the yellow bit of the lift is where you need to be going. So this is the next kind of puzzle area. It's just going to sneak past this guy that's looking at this massive phone. Not quite sure why that phone's so big, but it is. And then we'll just continue to sneak until the end of this area. A lot of the iconography of this game is very kind of Soviet Russia, so it's kind of a story along the lines of kind of slavery and communism, along those lines, which is quite an interesting little story and a nice little kind of 1 to 2 hour game, depending on your puzzling skills and whether you are going to. A lot of the iconography of this game is around the Soviet Union and communism. An interesting story to tell about how that particularly differentiates from the current kinds of rule that we have at the moment. It's just to mention that previous section, that guy's actually quite hard to sneak past, and sometimes he will just turn around and spot you, so it may take you a couple of attempts to get through that area. But now we'll go to the next area where we'll get back in the lift and we'll go down at this point. So once we've got all the way to the bottom, we can run through this section and into the next area of puzzle game. So there is a slave turning a crank there at the bottom of the screen. We'll need to use him in order to get to the next area. So through the side to the right, and then we'll need him to actually be turning this crank here. So order him to come and turn this one instead. You'll see there's a guard ahead. What this will do is it will extend the projector to the end of the rails, and then we'll start playing it so that we can distract the guard by playing this old movie on the wall. So as you can see, this will distract him. He's now kind of looking around, wondering what's going on. Doesn't really know what's going on, so we'll start to sit down and watch the movie. At this point we can sneak behind him and up onto the platform that you can see ahead with the next lift. So I'd continue to sneak at this point just in case you make too much noise and he turns around. Don't know why I decided to get back down there. Again, I'm not the best with the controls. We'll go into another complicated bit. So this again could take a couple of times for the things that you've got to do with this puzzle. So we've got to jump on a bike again. And again, not for that long. So a little cut here as I died a few times. So as the light goes backwards and forwards, you kind of just follow the light in order to get to the end, and then there's a little bit that we have to do at the end. So just ordering this guy to get on the next bike behind him so we can blend in again on this bike to allow the camera to go past us so it won't detect us when we head for the final bit of the puzzle. So just wait for it to pass, and then there's a trapdoor here at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this guy right to the end of the trapdoor in order to kind of counterweight it, so we will be able to slip below the trapdoor. Obviously wait for the laser to pass and go the other way, and then he hasn't quite activated the trapdoor as I might want, so we're going to grab a second slave in order to open that or weight that down even more to reveal the path below. So there you are, that's open, and now you just need to kind of sneak below and into the next portion of the level. So again we can start progressing forwards to the right to the next puzzle, which is a slightly more complicated one. So you have to bounce the laser off the top bit in order to ask the slave to go to the junction box that is below the first fan, but you have to wait until the tubes at the top of the screen are correctly aligned. So as you can see, I've stopped it here. That's stopped the tube moving. This will allow me to do the next part of the puzzle. So he will close the flaps at this side. I'll then use the tube to again bounce off, and then order him to close this next set of moving flaps, which is from this control here. So once he's shut that down, you'll be able to progress to the next bit of the level. It's through this door here. Some more kind of iconography, and then there's a little bit of platforming to come at this section. This is one again where you'll have to probably have a few attempts at it. So make sure you just avoid these cutting saws here. So make sure you are placed kind of directly in between them, and then this second set will come and make your platform even smaller. There is a jump at the end of this which is very hard, so you're going to need to be right at the back of your platform. So this jump can be missed quite often. I've managed it this time, and then up to this next section of platform, where again you'll be jumping on these pipes while moving forwards. So up to this next section, a little bit of ripples or rumbles from the game, and then again another complicated jump where that pipe collapses from below you, so jump onto that platform and then up finally and activate that controller in order to open the door, and that'll let us progress to the right. That bit is again quite complicated, so it might take you a couple of goes due to the clunkiness of the platform. Up onto the next bit, and then through this next kind of series of pipes onto this interesting looking satellite dish, and then we will progress to the next puzzle via this lift. So we want to come down the lift to the bottom, and then we're going to want to use our laser again to align this laser to open the door. So as you try and open the door with your laser to the right, that will activate the scenery to rumble, and then you'll be able to get the lift back up to the top level in order for you to jump out and onto this platform with this projector, or yeah, whatever this thing is, call it a projector for now. This will allow you to crank the laser at the top in order to aim it at the door. So there we are, we're just going to move the laser so it hits that pad there, and that will open the door for us to allow us to walk through to the next section. A lot of the puzzles from now on will kind of depend on that kind of logic. So we're in this room, we've got a guard, a laser. So we'll let the guard move to the right of the screen. You'll need to interact with the telephone here. Wind it up. That will at some point distract the guard, so just move back to the left here and open that little slot in the floor. You'll then be able to move into this kind of alcove below. The distracted guard will then move to see what's happening at this side of the screen. We'll then deliberately kind of set the alarm off in order to move him back to the right. Make sure he doesn't see you at this point, so you do need to be hidden under the bit of concrete that's here. If you're in the vented areas looking down now, then you will be caught. And then once he's finished his looking, just simply open the trapdoor to the right and jump back up to the top level, and you've passed through that puzzle. Now just a little bit of kind of more iconography as we move. There's a little gap in the floor there, which is going to be related to the next trophy, so that's quite easily missable. So as we jump down, we'll move into this almost underground house with the various little bits of kit, and you'll find 3 or 4 people watching a VCR player in this room, and that will unlock your next trophy. So that's 4 trophies so far, so we'll go for the 5th one now. Again, as I mentioned, some of these trophies are a little bit off the beaten path, so if you didn't know that trapdoor was there, you may be likely to miss it. So that's why I'd suggest using this guide. So now we'll continue down the main path to the right and into the next kind of puzzle area. So as you can see, we've got a lift and several platforms. So use the laser to open, actually put your laser into this machine to allow it to use the laser to project it. And then what we're going to do is we will use the crank in order to open this door to the left. Make sure it's fully on. That will allow us to walk into this room and get on the bike. So the bike moves the top, very top tube almost into position. That will allow us to reflect the laser off it and open up other elements of the level. So I've taken the laser out of the little cradle and put it back on our guy's arm, and then I'm going to jump back up to the top platform, bounce the laser off the tube that we moved previously. It is a little bit fiddly. I don't know if I could have moved it a little bit further to the right, but eventually we get it, and that activates the lift to move down to our level that we're currently on. A lot of these puzzles are quite simple, but would maybe take you a little bit of time to figure out should you go without this guide. So now the lift is at our level that we need it at. We are going to move to the right and go down the lift. Remember, you have to aim the laser pointer at the lift in order for it to move. There is, as you can see, a moving laser bed at this point. We do need to click it to move again, and the timing is important here, so that laser goes through the lift, and then you can go back to the lift and into the bottom of the area for another trophy. If we move to the left, break through this fence, or push our way through this fence, and activate this light here on this particular subject to unlock the trophy Garage Days. I'm assuming this is some kind of reference to some torture, or a torture scene of some description. We're then going to need to go back up the lift. So now we've unlocked that trophy, we'll just pop through the lift and go to the right to continue on to our next journey and our next little bit of puzzle gaming. So the next section is a security camera, just going through the vision, just sneak past that or run. Turn this crank in order to bring up part of the drawbridge, and then we can just simply jump over. Don't waste too much time, as the drawbridge will collapse below you. This next bit, we have to put our glove again into this projector system in order for us to allow us to open the door, so aim the laser at the yellow pad and that will open the door and allow us into the next area. Again, this is an area where you can die a couple of times, so don't be surprised if that's the case. We're just going to jump onto the top section of platform here. I'm going to move this laser, and that's going to set this other laser off coming towards us. Try and aim the laser towards the door so it stays open, and then we want to try and jump over this moving set of lasers here. Don't manage it on this first attempt, so just let it come back, and then I'll try and jump over it in order to clear it. There we go. So that's successfully cleared. We've now opened the door to the left, and we can go back through. We can grab our glove from the machine, so that door is now permanently open. We don't need this bit of the puzzle anymore, so we'll just go back to the right, back into the room. It will have it will still be moving as it was originally. We're going to go back to the top here, and we're going to have to move this laser to the left. Eventually that thing stops, so the alarm kind of stops, and then we can move the laser to the right door. And again, the same methodology, just jump over this and then go back down and to the right in order to unlock or move on to the next bit of the level. So that's that puzzle completed. We have another lift to navigate before we move on to the next area. So ride the lift down. We will actually ride all the way to the bottom. I just test to the left whether there is a secret passage there, but there isn't, so just ride it right down to the bottom and we'll move to the right once it's at the bottom of its stroke. Push through the door that's in front of us and into the next kind of section with more iconography around the fall of communism and the Soviet Union. Again, there is a little trapdoor in the floor. It may take a little bit to find, but once you've found it, kick it open and you'll unlock the next trophy called High Hopes, which is simply just for discovering this area. We will need to use the switch to open the trapdoor back up and jump up before we start our route to the next area. So go back up on the lift, and then we'll head to the next area as I mentioned. So to the right here, make sure you just move through and jump up onto the next little bit of platforming section. So you can see these guys are watching a movie. This section again, the platforming is quite interesting. So we've managed to get through it and back into another lift to go down. There's a lot of this in this game, to be fair. A lot of running between various little platforming bits, then changing level. So we've got to the bottom, we'll keep moving to the right. We're nearly kind of halfway through the game at this point. And then we're going to put our glove back into another projector system in order to open this door that you can see in front of us. Don't know why I decided that I needed to take it out, but that's what I did. So we've got it in there eventually, which is what we'll need to do. And then we'll just aim the laser at the door and the door will open. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the glove at this point and then it's going to shut. So that was the wrong thing for me to do. So we're going to have to repeat the process again. Luckily the laser's still aimed at the right place, so it just allows us to move through the area. We will now be obviously without our laser pointer glove, so that won't be a mechanic until we get a slightly different mechanic later in the game. Next section, we're just going to be jumping on the various bits of pipework and wall to get to the top of the level. So you can see me here jumping up on the walls and then on the pipework, and we're going to progress to the next bit of the level. I think I managed to mess up at this point and kind of end up going backwards a little bit, so just kind of ignore that for now, and when I got to the top of the pipe I thought it was a dead end, hence why I was backtracking a little bit to see if I'd missed a particular jump, but turns out I was wrong and I needed to be at the top all along. or at least on this bit. So what I'd missed, so what I'd done is I'd jumped to the top rather than jumped in between, so I wasn't able to progress. So I was right to backtrack a little bit, but just backtracked a little bit too far. So this next section, we've got another laser pointer focused on this object above. We'll just turn that off and we'll go into this next little bit of puzzle, where we're opening the door and letting these mech units roam free. So these will form part of the next bit of the game. So part of it will be avoiding these mechs looking at you once we manage to actually go outside, which is a bit of a relief. So you'll see some daylight, and the game will be a bit less gloomy and gritty and a bit more bright and airy. So we'll drop through this vent down here and we'll go we'll crank this car down this zip wire next to this molten metal or lava. We must be inside some kind of smelting facility or metal facility. Make the jump onto this platform, and then we're going to do a bit more platforming. Make sure you avoid this hammer that's moving backwards and forwards. I think there will be oh no, there's quite a big jump here which you have to make. So drop down onto the ledge and then across to the next ledge, and there is another hammer at this point going backwards and forwards. And I'm missing the third hammer. As you can see, we've reached the end, so we will need to go back. I think we do need to drop down one of these ledges where the hammers are swinging backwards and forwards. So yeah, make sure you drop down that first gap and then drop down again and then go back to the right for some more platforming. Up onto this next little bit of metal, round onto this wall, then we'll slide down. Got to time that jump right onto again this metal platform. Then you need to go to your left and up the structure. If you go to your right, you get to a dead end, which I did originally. And then once we just climb to the top of the structure, you just keep going around and eventually we will reach the top. And then we're on to the next element, which is we're in some kind of compactor. So the compactor is pushing forwards, crushing these blocks. I want to stay on that block for as long as possible and jump on the arm that's coming forwards to crush you into the wall. Obviously now we're on the top, that's not a problem. Wait for it to finish its stroke and go back to the left, and then that should allow us to jump down and then into the next area via this pipe. Complicated jump there because both that jump and the seesaw jump are quite finicky. And then we'll jump up to the platform on top. Proceed to the right, and then again we're getting really close to the end here. Avoid that little machine, that shouldn't be too hard. I would advise that while we're just doing this little bit of platforming, that your TV brightness, you do turn it up a little bit, because if you're too dark black you won't be able to see much of this game. So this is the next puzzle. We'll activate that pad. The fire will move towards us, just running away from it, waiting for it to hit the end here, and then we'll jump on the actuator and move back to the right. Again, some of that platforming can be quite hard. If you have your TV brightness slightly wrong, then you won't be able to see anything. We'll just jump up onto this ledge here, and then we just need to jump over the fire that's in front of us. So more fire here. Again, you don't need to rush this bit, so just simply, I did double jump over there, I didn't really need to do it, I could have waited. And then hit this at the end, which extinguishes the fire and allows me, you've got to make sure that the shadow is covering you there, so that indicates the platform is below you. So make sure there is shadow there rather than light, and then that will carry you to the next point. Now at this point it's really important to have your audio turned up, or headphones, because all you'll be able to hear is the hiss of the pipes. So what you're looking for is, or what you're listening for, is the hiss of the pipe, and then move as you get closer to that pipe, the hiss will get louder. So If you get too close, obviously you'll get burnt by the pipe, but otherwise you'll be able to pass the pipe. So waiting and then passing as the noise dissipates, and then when the noise starts again, just inching forwards in order to not get scalded by the pipes. And then after about 3 or 4 pipes, you should have got to the end, and there's this grid to freedom. Simply push it and that will open, and we'll go to the outside, unlock the trophy, step into the light, and then the next bit will be kind of fully outside. So you get a different tonality change here. So we've escaped whatever the facility was that we were being held in. We will platform over this next section, and don't do that. So that was one of the mechs that I accidentally ran into. So you should just wait for it to pass, and then it won't be able to shoot you. Hopefully, as it looks around there, it should just continue into the distance. You don't have to do much sneaking once they're past you. You can just simply run, and then we'll continue through the kind of dystopian destroyed buildings of the area, platforming up onto this ledge, and then up onto this ledge, and up onto the top of the building, and then up again to reach the top so we can slide down onto the next section. Get this raft to drag you across. Timing's important on this one. If you don't time that correctly, then obviously that raft will leave you and you'll be drowning in the water. Obviously this guy doesn't like water and can't swim, as that will cause it to game over, and you have to restart from the checkpoint. Again, watch the mech that's in the background there. I don't think it can shoot you, but it is looking directly at you, so it may be the case that it can. So at this point we're going to use the laser pointer to bring this little barge towards us. This takes a little bit of time for this to arrive. It does move very, very slowly, so this next section you're going to be sort of puzzling and avoiding traps while actually on this barge, so it is quite slow and cumbersome, so just be prepared to enjoy this barge for the next section of the game. So we'll just wait for it to come towards us here, and then like I said, we will board the barge. You can see that there are people hanging from rails. These rails will be used as your disguises for later in the game for passing certain elements of the puzzles. So now it's here, the laser will close up and we'll jump on the boat. You've got to aim your laser at this pad in order to start it off again, and we'll move to the right. The barge does drift, so you don't need to be constantly holding on this button. So you can see the security cameras here. We need to jump on the rails to hide from the security cameras. That was pretty close, to be honest, so it did spot me because it did flash, but it didn't fully kind of spot me. You have to be in vision of it for a few seconds for it to actually catch you. It is important you do get some speed up though, because obviously you could get stuck at that part, and if your laser goes through the camera it will still catch you. So again here I've let go of the button probably a little bit too early, so I've not kind of drifted as far as I might have done. I might get away with it here. As you can see, the drift has kind of stopped now, so I need to find a way. So I've just gone far enough. Oh no, it does let you use your laser pointer in the red area of the camera, because we need to start the barge again in order to get past this next section. So just a little bit of momentum to just drift past this next camera, as we see the people working away in the background. And then there is a final camera, a final third camera, which we'll need to get past. So again, starting the barge, moving towards the right. Again, this is a little bit fiddly because obviously you're going from the wrong side. Make sure you're on the rail by the time it hits the camera, and then now we've made it. That's that little bit of puzzle completed. So moving into the next section, we're going to activate a switch on this piece of machinery, and that's going to release 2 crates from above. One of them crates, nothing drops out of, but the second one will drop out a robot, or almost like an animatronic dog, which will follow you around now, and you can use your laser in order to instruct this animatronic robot to do a couple of things for you. So when you click it and ask it to kind of go, it will stay, and then click it, go up to it and press it, and it will turn into a box-like structure. There we are. In order that you can jump on it and move to the next area. So this will be the mechanic kind of going forwards now. This kind of animatronic dog will help you kind of puzzle through the next sections. So make sure you always kind of unlock it. This is quite glitchy, this kind of animatronic robot, so you do have to be careful. Don't leave it too far behind, and don't leave it sat as its kind of box-like form, because it will not move, so you always need to go back and unlock it from its box form once you've put it in that. Just flick this switch and then move to the next area. Again, there are some instructions in the background in case you're unclear. So what you're asking is it to activate this metal touch switch. He will follow you at this point, so there are some more puzzles based on asking your robot to attach itself to the switch. There we are. So we've lowered this and raised the other one. I got a little bit of lag there for some reason. Don't know why that happened. And then we need to get him. I thought we needed to get him to come off here, which I've done. Which then raises that one. He'll then kind of jump into the water and kind of swim to join you. So again, we want to ask him to start this cart off. It will start moving to the right. You want to just jump and hold on to him or her. It's a robot. Them, maybe. And then that will deliver you to this next little bit of section where you'll go into another kind of crusher similar to the one that we were in earlier. What you'll need to do is you'll need to make sure he is a box, so that when the hydraulic arm comes down to crush, it actually resists that crushing, and then you should be saved. So make sure you duck and are no bigger than the actual box that your robot has made itself into. Once we've completed that, we'll be able to climb out of the compactor and move again to the right. Wait for him to join you, and this is a section where we do have to wait for a specific overhead box to arrive. So this section may take you quite a bit of time, because we do obviously have to wait for that box. I do think I speed the footage up here at some point, which I've just done. So you'll be able to see this box is fairly obvious from how it looks. So the top of the box will have almost like a light or a sheen on it. That means that you need to get your pet to jump on it. So as you can see, it's making its way towards us here. So you can see the red bit on the top of the box is the bit we are looking for. If you do miss it, these boxes do go round and round, so you can catch it again. Make sure you ask your robot to jump on it. You'll then trigger a little bit of a cutscene, which will unlock the box, and you'll find a little fez, and then you'll unlock the trophy. Fez, there we are, that's just popped now. And that's just a little bit of time that you have to wait for that to come round. Destroying the box will not affect anything going forwards, so we will just move forwards on the level. We do need to move towards the right of the platform, and as you can see we can't move any further due to the steam coming out of the pipe, so we just need to wait for the next box to pass us overhead, and we need to jump up onto it and use it to ride to the next section of the level, which is this kind of yellow thing that's sat in the middle of the level. Your little robot will join you and will push that down so you can proceed, and then you just continue to hang on to this until you've reached the next area. So he will also cover steam for you on occasions, as he's done right there, and then he should do the same here just in front of this guard. Or maybe not, maybe he's just going to stay there enjoying the steam. So it's distracted this guard for you, so you can move behind him. The guard just doesn't really understand what's happening here, so we'll just ignore him after a little bit, and you'll continue to raise to the top of the level. You're holding this box-like structure. It's just a box. Just a box. At this point, I don't know if you've watched the other videos on my channel, I did actually have a glitch where the robot stuck onto the yellow container and was unable to be moved. Luckily the autosaves are quite tight on this game, so I didn't have to go back very far, but thankfully I complete this next section successfully. It's hard for me to say at this point. So the guard will be distracted. He will move under it, and then you need to ask the robot to jump on it, and that will crush him. And then we can move on to the next bit, where you get the robot to jump on the electric part of the platform, and then jump up and on top and over and down onto the other side. A little bit of running to do now. Your companion should join you through this next section. If he doesn't, then you might have to go back and ask it to remove itself from the position it was in. Now you're going to want to instruct it to hide the steam so you can get past it. So as you can see there, I'm asking it to just cover that steam channel again with this second one, and then again with the other two further. This bit's quite simple but a little bit frustrating. Not sure why there needs to be like 4, but it's a little bit of platforming to do in what is quite a short game anyway, so it's not really a problem. Again, jump on the barrel over to the next side. We're going to approach this mech that's in front of us. Again, this is another one, another section that is a little bit more complicated than some of the sections that we've been doing previously. You're going to want to avoid that mech's gunfire, so I'm asking the robot to go ahead. I did die at this point, so you can see I'm just going to there. Just distracting the robot, making sure you're hid behind this kind of grass, because apparently they can't see behind grass. That's interesting. Over the seesaw and behind these what look like giant, I don't even know what they look like giant bombs, to be fair. So we've passed through that mech now and into the next bit of the level. This bit of the level, there'll be another trophy. Again, this is quite hard to gauge, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to jump on the back carriage of the train. So you need to be as close to the train as possible without being run over. So you can see here, I am about as close as you can get. You're going to want to wait for the back carriage, and you'll see that there's an opening. Press jump, and he should attach yourself onto the back carriage, and you should start a little cutscene that has your character kind of sat amongst some sheep, and the trophy is called Unexpected Journey, and that is a gold trophy. So eventually this will end and you'll be dropped off back where you started, and we can continue through the game and on to the next bit of puzzle. So once we've hit this bit of puzzle, you want to crank the bottom machine to the right, to connect it to the tube. You're going to want to climb then to the top for this other wheel to turn and fill the little tub there with water. And then you want to jump and ask your robot to cling onto the side of it. That will cause it to swing and open up the bottom. You then need to hang on to the robot in order to tip the water into the fire and extinguish it. And that's that little bit of puzzle. Jump up and out the other side in order to complete and move into the next area. So there's a little bit of running to be done at this point. Go for this little bit of water area and on to the next area. Again, some of these areas are just for environment, or just for you to look at the landscape that's around you and take in some of the story. Now for this next bit, you're going to want to jump on. It's going to snap and break, and then fall into the water. Now for this, we have to use the robot to get some momentum and push it back. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm sending him to shore, and then he's jumping back and he's pushing me back to the left of the screen. So eventually what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to jump on it and make sure you both jump together, and that's going to move it all the way back to the right at some speed. So there we are. As you can see, we've both jumped off and jumped on, and that causes the floating device to move to the right. You do have to again get that right, otherwise it can move very slowly before we do the next bit of scenery before the next puzzle. So there's more walking sections next ahead of us. So this bit of the game does feel very padded by these sections of just walking through environment, but as I said, the game is only an hour and a half anyway, so I guess they needed to pad it out a little bit more. So we'll move on to the next obstacle here, which is a tank. You're going to need to jump on top of it and then make sure that your robot goes to the back of the tank and attaches on. Turn the valve on the top of the tank in order to fill it up with water, and you're going to want to try and extinguish the fire. So you need to close this flap at the back, so just simply press against it. That will cause the tank to fill up and continue to fill up and overflow, and that will put the fire out. Quite a simple puzzle really. So once the fire is out, just relieve yourself from the flap and move to the right. At this point the robot follows me. Again, you might need to detach it from the wall sometimes. It doesn't always move as you'd expect. Again, more walking or running in this occasion to the next puzzle, which involves this crank and moving it to make a bridge between this section and the next section. So we're moving the crank to the left and kind of midway under the platform. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to move our robot to the other end, so it tips it back down, and then we're going to want to kind of repeat the process so that we have moved the other side of that steam, and we are in a position to jump up onto the metal frame to the right of the level there, and then that's that bit complete. Go back to your left because there's another valve on the top which allows us to flood the area entirely with water, which allows our pet to come and join us in the next area. If you don't do that, your pet will not join you, so that's part of the puzzle. This box you should be able to get onto, so make your robot into a box and then climb onto it and pull the panel. I'll pull this protective cover off. You then need to get off your box and then attach it to that electric panel. You do need to unbox it at this point. There we are, and then ask it to jump on there, so you can jump on and then onto the roof of this building to progress to the next area. this bit, we just need to press this button and we'll actually get another trophy. So remember is the next trophy that we've unlocked. Again, some of the trophies not particularly clear what they are referencing, but it may be that you guys know what these are references to. I'm not very high on my communist law. I'll be honest with that. As we run to our right, we will encounter the next puzzle element. This is another kind of semi-difficult puzzle element. So we're going to get our robot to move on to that central piston to push it down. This should make the claw go into the bottom and pull out this kind of concrete wall. Make sure we've walked off the grid, and then also ask the robot to move off, and that will drop the concrete down at ground level, so you've got a little bit of platform that you can use next. So at this point, this is a little bit fiddly, so we want the robot to jump on the piston again to lower it down, but as that robot is getting up, we need to jump, as this will allow the concrete to move up and to the right of the level, which will take us into the next area. I think we're going back inside again here. So this is just riding this piece of concrete into the next section. We also get another trophy called At the Gates, so this is another progression trophy. So as we move into the next area, that's 11 of the 15 down now, so at this point there is more running ahead of us, so just continue to run to the right and platform any bits where you need to jump, and you'll eventually reach this house with a demolition ball attached to a big crane on the outside. So what we're going to need to do is we need to activate this crane to smash through the house and allow us into the next level. So make your robot into the box, jump up on the panel, and it'll drop down, and then you'll be able to climb up onto the top of the wrecking demolition ball thing. Set the switch off, and the wrecking ball will nearly hit the house, but then it will kind of just drop down. So then you need to run back to your left and then back again just to reset the particular bit of the puzzle, because obviously I didn't quite get that right there. So what we need to do this time, which is how we'll be able to complete this, is we need to get our robot and we need to ask it to be a box-like structure in the swing arc of the wrecking ball. So what this is effectively going to do is it's going to punt your box-like structure through the wall using the momentum from the swinging wrecking ball. So there you are, and we've created the hole in the wall for us to progress to the next bit of the level. It's quite a little bit of an ingenious puzzle, I quite like that one. Then we do need to wait for this wrecking ball to be retracted. You can't walk past it as it's in its spiky state, so we have to wait for it to get out of our way, and then we can actually progress to the bit of the level that we've just unlocked. As it's hoisted up here, we'll just move underneath it, maybe, eventually, just having a think about it. And then in this next section there is another trapdoor for a secret, well, not secret trophy, but another kind of hidden pathway for the next trophy. So push your way through these doors, and then before you go outside, jump about this point, and you'll jump through or fall through a trapdoor. As you move to your left, you'll see some more kind of strange iconography, and then you'll unlock the trophy In God We Trust. Obviously showing some kind of recording and surveillance elements of the world, which again is another kind of comment on how communism tends to operate. As we move back through to the right and into the next puzzle. This one, a little bit of a simple one, so just get your friend as a box-like structure again, and then you're going to want to kind of weigh this down, and then he will be released underneath you. So at the bottom of the screen you'll see that your friend is now able to attach yourself to this electrical circuit to the right in order to move the piston. You're going to want him to jump onto the piston and block out the lasers, which will release the end panel to fall off, and then wait until the piston moves back down before you jump, otherwise you'll jump to your death. But that was quite easy to pass to this particular section. And now we're back to some of the kind of security camera puzzles that we had earlier in the game that we haven't seen for a little bit of a while. So as usual, make sure you're hidden from the camera, so use these canopies in order to shade you from the light. Distract the light with your friend and then move it to the far left of the screen. That should leave the way clear for you to progress to the next bit of the level. You do need your friend at this point in order to jump on this next canopy that you can see that I'm under right now, as you can't fit through the gap in the wall. But that gap in the wall will be important for the next bit of puzzle that we're going to attempt. So just wait for the camera to stop kind of focusing. It will get bored and move back to the left, and at that point you can make him into a box and jump up, as mentioned previously, onto this thing. Again, make sure the camera doesn't get you there, because it can follow you onto that canopy. As you can see, we've got a box to our left, which is what we're going to need to use for this little bit of puzzle. So climb the scaffolding up to this little and then jump on it, little platform, then jump on it, and that's broken the door. That's broken the gap, sorry, in the fence, in order that we can then fit our pet through. So again, wait for the laser to move off. Don't stand on him, just turn him back into other form, and then we can both fit through the fence and move into the next area. Again, ask him to cover the steam so you can pass through. Good job. And then we can go to the right, continuing to the right. For our next puzzle, you're going to want to instruct your friend to get jammed in that wheel, and then you need to move back to your left and do a little bit of platforming. So this jump again, a little bit iffy. Sometimes you won't make it, so you may need to repeat the puzzle. But once that's cleared, you'll be able to move to your right and then crawl under this bit of structure here. Just keep crawling or squatting almost to your right, and then we'll reach the end eventually. Your robot friend, dog, whatever it is, I've called it several things in this video, should come with you, or at least you'll be able to press this and then it should be allowed to come into this bit of section. So asking it to come and attach itself to there, so you can jump up onto it, and then again, and then into the next section. Getting towards the end of the game now. I'm not sure why I jumped back down there, but it happened. And there is another trophy at this point, so just go to your left and knock on the door of what looks like an outside toilet for the trophy. Who's there? Again, one you could miss if you weren't aware it was there. As we are basically at the end of the game now, there are only 2 trophies left, so there's not long to go now. This bit, again, can be a bit janky, so you've asked your robot to jump up, and then you need to jump over those lasers. I did jump into those lasers several times, but on this time managed it, and then you can turn the lasers off so you can be joined again by the robot dog. Ask him to move into the next section, and then set him as a box in order to break all the wooden panels. Not sure how that works, but it does. And then we can move in, push our way through this next set of double doors, and out into almost like a street environment where we're going to encounter our next couple of puzzles. Again, you've got the moving searchlight at the top, so just instruct your robot to move to the right in order to distract it. I've not quite got that right there. Needs to move a bit further. There we are. So it's distracted. I'm getting it to move back to the left in order to pull it, and then into this little alcove here to pull the light fully, or the camera fully away from me. So it allows me to pass in front up until this laser, and then we need to jump to our left, do a little bit of more platforming, and then nope, don't drop down. That was a bit of an accident. So jump again, and then I think we're going to go to our right here, and that's going to allow us to move our robot fully back to the right, because we're now above the security camera, and as you can see, the security camera has a little bit of platform on top of it. So jump onto that and over into the next section. So that's that little bit of puzzle complete. Don't worry, your robot should join you again. Here we are, and then again ask him to jump on this electrical circuit panel and allow you to access the top of the next area. Just a little bit more platforming to go, and then we should be in the final section of the level. The game does unlock the platinum trophy before the end, so there is a little bit more to play through to get like the full end. But I won't do this in this video. I will stop the video just after we unlock the platinum trophy. You need to catch this bus, or at least not that bus, because that's uncatchable, but you can catch the next one that comes around. Like most things in this game, it does kind of a loop, so just wait a little bit. So like most buses, they take some time to come, so just wait here for it to arrive, and then we'll do the next little bit of, well, it's not really a puzzle, is it? Here it is, just pulling around the corner now. You need to just make sure, like the train earlier, that you time it and jump on it correctly, otherwise, there we are. So you need to get on the second side door to allow you to ride past these cameras. Don't worry about your robot at this time, it will just follow you through the level. And then as the bus continues to the right, you'll see some more kind of iconography of a police chase possibly, or something similar in the background as you move to the right, and then into an actual little bit of cutscene of that bus arriving in the next area. So unfortunately, as this bus ride ends, after these couple of cutscenes, you will be caught by the guards and you will be sent into a jail or isolation. So you just have to wait for these scenes to end. There's nothing you can do, there's no controllability at the moment, so you can just wait until you are caught and the guards kind of push you down, and then it will fade to black and it will move to the next area. So you'll find yourself in a cage at the start of the next area. Again, this is another bit where it feels like you're just trying to extend the game, and this bit isn't as fun as the other bits of the game, as we'll find out as we move through. So once the screen is loaded and you're inside the cage, you'll need to swing it backwards and forwards. So just moving right and left until the cage eventually hits a little bit of outstanding pipe, and then will fall off and onto the ground, and you'll be laying there face first. Pick yourself up, and unfortunately I believe you'll be injured at this point, so you'll be kind of unable to move as quickly as you previously had, which is the bit of the game that is a little bit frustrating. I don't feel that you need to be hampered at this time in order to move through the rest of the level. So this is almost kind of the final section. So there is a little bit of platforming still to do, but you are moving incredibly slowly, which again is just elongating the game, moving through the kind of more scenes of the downfall of communism and of the Russian Soviet Union. Just limping away like you do. Again, this is a nice easy platinum, so can't do too much complaining. It is only kind of an hour and a half of your time, and it is quite a nice atmospheric game, so not going to complain too much, but I'm not still sure why you need to be limping at this stage in order to complete the rest of the game. I guess it's just another mechanic they were looking to put in there. just to slow you down a little bit. So as we have limped around the walking section, we've come to another bit with two cameras. So this camera on the left is moving towards us. Once you get under the platform, the camera will not be able to see you and will move past you. At this point, again, I did die here because it's a little bit finicky. So you need to make sure you are as close to the front of this shadow as possible. If you're towards the back, you will be caught as the camera moves past you. And then we're going to get up onto this metal pipe work in order to complete this next little bit of platforming. So to jump on the actual camera itself as you ride it towards the right hand side of the screen for the next little bit of platforming. As I've just said, the lights will come on, you'll be able to see the next platform ahead of you. So we're going to want to drop down off this camera before it reaches the kind of full right of the screen. So I think we're going to drop down here and then move through to the next bit of the level. Again, you're still limping, so this bit takes way longer than it probably should do. We are near the end at this point. I have enjoyed the game. I would recommend it if you want something that's nice and quick and easy to platinum, but also has a little bit of story there, with a little bit of challenge. Some of the platform sections you won't get through the first time, so there is a little bit in there. It's not just a simple straightforward walking simulator, although most of it pretty much is. So as we've got into this section, we will unlock the switch to the right, and that will send some, you can decide yourself what's coming out of this tube. I'm going to say muck or dirt. It will build up in the center of the screen, and then as you kind of stand on top of it, it will push you upwards, allowing you to access the platform that you can just see kind of to the right. Once it's finished, jump onto the right and pull yourself up, and then move on to the next little bit of walking that we've got to do. Through into this final room, and this will be the final room where we end up. You can see there's lots of empty coffins, so obviously preparing for the bodies that are going to be brought there, and then the light turns red and suddenly all the caskets have bodies. You're going to want to hide in this empty casket here as the camera kind of sweeps over you to make sure that it doesn't catch you out. Again, make sure you don't move when it's near you or over you, otherwise you will be caught, and that will be back to an earlier part of the game. Again, the autosaves are quite good, so even if you do get caught, it's probably going to be the start of this section rather than much further. Once the camera has passed you, you get out the coffin and you'll get Dead Man Walking, and the platinum will pop there, which is Doubt the State. As I said, you can continue beyond this. There is a little bit of story to go, but this is it for this guide. So thank you for watching, and we hope you have a good one, and see you again soon.